After all this time, I'm finally making the owner's review of my Honda Civic Hatchback Sport, or FK7 as I will call it from this point on. I bought this car when it only had 4 miles on the odometer. So, what have I learned in 17,481 miles? Quite a lot, but one fact above all, this car has 2 distinct personalities. I'll cover each separately, but first, let's start with the quiet personality. Now, when I say quiet, I'm not just talking about noise, because this is technically a quiet car. But when I say quiet, I'm mostly talking about it's easy to drive. Doesn't really take much effort. Steering wheel's fairly light. There's not much resistance. Straightforward. Controls are exactly where you expect them to be. It's also unendingly reliable. It's practical. Fit anything you want in the hatch. So, really, on that front, when I say quiet, I mean, it doesn't have to be noticed. It just does its job exactly how you would want a Honda Civic to do its job. And of course, as a hatchback, it's very practical and very easy to pack. Bring a bag. Bring 2. Abandon your friends. Drop the seats. Put in a guitar and amp. Wear socks and Crocs. Civic doesn't care. Civic is too busy being a good car to care. Great, I hear you saying. I'm sold. But what was that second personality you were talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked, loyal subscriber who clearly clicked the bell icon for what is obviously your favorite channel, which is clearly me. That's what I'm talking about next. The fun personality. This car is fun to drive. It's light. The engine has just enough power with a smooth turbocharger. And the 6-speed manual is a perfect companion, and I highly recommend it over the CVT. Back to the engine, it's a 1.5-liter dual overhead cam turbocharged inline-4, making 180 brake horsepower at about 6,500 RPM. I can't stress enough, however, get the manual. Just do it, it's so much better. You know what? Try this out. It even has a decent soundtrack. Before I get too ahead of myself, however, let's cover the few drawbacks. Mainly, there are no creature comforts, really. This particular model does not come with any form of heated seats. The door armrest could use a little more padding than just, because this is a soft material, but there's not really much underneath it other than, the trim itself. So that does kind of wear on your elbows if you're leaning your elbow on it for too long, which, is something you do with an armrest. So I could do that with, I'd prefer if it was a little more padded. It also has an electronic handbrake that turns it off. This turns it on. I would prefer a good old lever, but apparently Honda doesn't do that anymore with the Civic. Also, for a turbocharged engine, there is no stock boost gauge on this entire system. Higher end ones that have the touch screen right here, I've heard rumors that you can actually set it to where it'll tell you, actually no, it's not there. It's, if you have the electronic gauge cluster, you can set it to where it has like this fake boost gauge on it. But for the more basic ones, like the FK7 right here, that is just the basic FK7, the Sport, not the Sport Touring, there is no boost gauge, which, I mean, I guess you don't need one, but it'd be nice to see. All right, now I am 6'1", which is a little bit above the average height. This is still set to my driving position. I can technically fit back here. It is a little tight, but with an average person in the front seat, an average person can sit in the back seat. This is also set to someone pretty tall, but yeah, back seats are actually pretty decent. There's no armrest in the middle. I have stuff cluttered here, but this car does not come with stuff. Now, for a prospective buyer, I'm sure the question you are asking is, after all my miles spent in this car and everything I know about it now, would I buy it again? Yes. Yes, I would. This is Klockorino, clocking out.
Chiisana